There has been so much to go over with the Black Ops 6 Zombies reveal and Terminus, but in this video, we are looking at the other Zombies map coming on launch, Liberty Falls, because we got our very first look at it with the reveal. We're going to be diving to that first look gameplay as well as brand new screenshots, dissect exactly what we know so far about this map, because as you can clearly see from the title, one of the most infamous wonder weapons is returning in this map, and that is the jet gun. If you don't know what this wonder weapon is or where it's come from, this is the wonder weapon from the Black Ops 2 Zombies map Transit, and I genuinely never thought we would ever see this wonder weapon return inside of Treyarch Zombies. It's one of the worst wonder weapons ever made because you have to craft it by finding parts around the map, and then when you use it, if you use it too much, it can break and then you have to build the parts again. So for a lot of older Zombies players, seeing the jet gun return after 12 years, it is hella nostalgic and just crazy to see. Now I am sure that it is going to be very different from how it was in Black Ops 2 Zombies, where this should hopefully be much more reliable wonder weapon that's going to work so differently to how it did in Black Ops 2. In terms of how this wonder weapon works, it has unlimited ammo and it has a very strong suction ability that sucks in and destroys a ton of zombies before it overheats. You would then need to wait for the weapon to cool down again before you could use its ability again, but it could wipe out entire hordes. Now beyond just seeing it in the trailer, we don't actually know if it's going to work exactly the same way, if it will have a ton of improvements in how that mechanic works. But of course, with the jet gun from Transit returning in Black Ops 6 Zombies, it really begs the question if that means Transit's going to return as well. And when I first saw Liberty Falls at Treyarch back in June, it didn't look like Transit to me. And from what we get to see from the very first initial shot of the map, which I'm going to have replaying in slow motion for you, but this pan of what we see includes a gas station on the left, and then to the right, we can see a motel which is on fire with the motel sign sort of crushed on the roof. And what we got to see was a bird's eye view of the top down of this section where you can see the gas station, you can see the motel, then just up the road you can see there seems to be some blocked off pathways with cars on fire, and you can see the sign for a bowling alley, which was also confirmed back in June when I saw this one screenshot of the map at Treyarch. But it is quite curious that this town has a bowling alley, and so did Transit's town. And then just past there is a church, which we're gonna circle back to very shortly, because the final shot we get in the trailer of the Zombies map is of a Dark Aether portal that looks very Stranger Things-esque, where we're going through it, and on the other side is the Dark Aether, which looks to be very similar to D-Machine, like some sort of Dark Aether version of Liberty Falls that we can teleport between. Now remember, just before I mentioned that there is a church in the map, well, from what I could tell visually from how it looked on the top down, it looked very similar to the church found in Transit's town. Now again, this is just me speaking from memory of what I saw back in June. I don't have a photographic memory, I can't remember exactly, but it did look quite similar. And this shot here in the Dark Aether is clearly the insides of a church, but we're seeing it upside down. So let's rotate this 180 so we can look at this normally. And it seems in terms of the Pack-a-Punch, it is going to be available in the Dark Aether version of Liberty Falls inside this church. Now, if that means we have to go in the Dark Aether in order to access the machine, we have no idea. This could be just like D-Machine, where there is two versions of the map, the normal one and then one that's completely in the Dark Aether. I have seen a lot of people talk online that the interior of this church looks very reminiscent of the insides of the church from the Buried Zombies map. And in that map, there was a church which contained a little bit of an interior, and right near the front where the Pack-a-Punch machine is, there was the Vulture Aid perk machine. Now this teaser is just so vague that we can't confirm if this is the Buried Church or not. It definitely has some very striking resemblance to it, but I just don't think there's enough proof that we can concretely confirm that this is the Buried Church. But if it was, it would be an insane concept for this map, where you have this seemingly ordinary town and then somehow there are parts of older Zombies maps that are bleeding into this map through the Dark Aether. Solely from my own opinion, and you guys can think entirely different if you want to, but I just don't know if I can believe 100% that this is the Buried Church's interior. I want Treyarch to 100% have older Zombies maps that exist in the Dark Aether bleed into this new universe. That would be absolutely sick, but I think the reality is that this is more likely to just be the interior of that church that I saw the bird's eye view at Treyarch in June. This is just the interior of that, but it could could be the church from Transit's town. It really could, because they do look similar. And maybe that's the whole point. Treyarch has specifically shown this because they know that we're going to have a ton of different theories and ideas on this, and that's the beauty of little zombies teasers like this. The only other noticeable detail in this shot is if we look all the way to the right, there looks to be a very suspicious wheel. At first, it kind of looks like a pirate ship's wheel, but if we zoom in, we can see that this is some sort of part that is connected into a machine where we have wires connected to the boxes on the right. We can also see that there is some sort of other box on the other side with a light on it, potential a little monitor screen underneath. Like at first, this really does look like the big sort of barrel cylinder part of the jet gun, but there's a lot of other items on top of it which just look a little bit strange, and especially the front part, the circular. There's some massive circular bolts, and there's also like this front circle panel attached to it with holes on the front, and there's a lot of weird shape stuff on the top of it, which if we look and compare to the actual jet gun from those frames of the person using it, those are not present on there anymore. But there is definitely a resemblance to the jet gun, and if this is related to it, potentially this is where you get the main jet cylinder part of the wonder weapon, and it could be a buildable again like how we saw in Transit. If we do look a bit more closely at the jet gun, you can see that there is some sort of cloth that is around the sides of it, covering up top front to the middle part. Like some parts of the jet gun are still exposed, like there's no housing over it. But in fairness, if we compare the look of it in Black Ops 6 to how it looked in Black Ops 2, it looks pretty much identical. Every single detail from the Black Ops 2 version is retained here. So it really begs the question, where did the jet gun come from in this new universe and this zombies map? Was it just there? Did someone else create it? It has a different backstory now? Or did it come from Transit that's now in the Dark Aether? Because there's been a ton of rumor and speculation that this zombies map, Liberty Falls, is some sort of Transit remake or some Transit inspired map, and there's very little to go off so far from the screenshots, but it doesn't look that way. Perhaps the town section might be inspired by Transit with the fact we have that church there, but until we see the full scale of the map, we have no idea if there's any parts of Transit in this map or if it was just inspired. Because all we officially know so far about this map is that it's going to be a smaller map than Terminus, which Treyarch have said is the biggest round-based zombies map they've ever made. It's going to be smaller, but it is going to have its own main quest, and this map takes place at the exact same time to the map in Terminus. So realistically, the playable crew of characters that we'll have for Black Ops 6 can't be on this map at the same time as Terminus, so we're either going to have a different crew, which could be a little bit like Nuketown in Black Ops 2 where we play as CDC characters, or this could just be a map where you just simply play as operators. There's no actual crew. The only other thing we have definite confirmation of is that the Manglers are going to be in Liberty Falls as well. I have seen a few people online complain about the fact the Manglers are in both maps and doesn't seem to be much difference between the two. It seems a little bit random for them to keep reusing the Mangler zombie, but hey, at least we now have the arm cannon that it drops as a weapon, and we can become the Manglers now with the mutant injection. So at least they are refreshing how these enemies work and the fact that they actually have their weapons drop now, which you can use, which is a really cool change. Like I mentioned, we do not have long at all until we're gonna get the proper full reveal of Liberty Falls on August 28th, and I will be streaming live gameplay of Liberty Falls here on my YouTube channel from COD Next. So if you want to make sure you don't miss out on that, as well as any other videos on Black Ops 6 Zombies, as I'm sure leading up to that we're going to be getting even more reveals and pieces of info from Treyarch, make sure you subscribe with the bell so you don't miss out on anything. But if you enjoyed the video, please drop it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. If you want to learn about even more Black Ops 6 Zombies, then go ahead and click the video on your screen right now.